School bullies targeted the new girl. They didn't know she was an MMA champion. Sophia Mitchell stared at her reflection in the bathroom mirror of Westlake High School. At 15, she was small for her age, only 5'2", and slightly chubby, with frizzy brown hair that refused to cooperate, regardless of how much product she used. Her glasses magnified her hazel eyes, making them look too large for her round face. She splashed cold water on her cheeks, trying to wash away the feeling of dread that had been her constant companion since moving to this town 3 weeks ago. Just get through today, she told herself, just like yesterday and the day before. One day at a time. As the new girl from Pittsburgh who had arrived mid-semester, Sophia was an easy target. She hadn't had time to make friends or establish herself in the complex social hierarchy of Westlake High. To make matters worse, her shy nature and soft-spoken demeanor practically painted a bullseye on her back. What no one at Westlake knew was that back in Pittsburgh, Sophia had been training in mixed martial arts since she was 7 years old. Her father, a former professional fighter turned coach, had insisted she learn to defend herself. For 8 years, she had dedicated herself to the sport, winning junior competitions across the state. She had even placed third in last year's National Youth Championship. But Sophia had made a promise to her father when they moved. No fighting at the new school. Her dad had taken a coaching position at a prestigious MMA gym in town, and they both agreed that she should try to make a fresh start, one that didn't involve her getting suspended for putting someone in an armbar on her first day. "You fight in the ring, Soph," her father had said, "not in the hallways." So far she had kept that promise even as it became increasingly difficult. The bathroom door swung open and Sophia's stomach dropped. Megan Harrison strutted in, flanked by her 2 loyal followers, Amber Cox and Danny Wilson. Megan was everything Sophia wasn't: tall, willowy, blonde, and impossibly confident. As captain of the cheerleading squad and daughter of one of the town's wealthiest residents, she ruled Westlake High with calculated cruelty. "Well, if it isn't Puffy Sofa," Megan said, using the nickname she had coined on Sophia's second day. It had spread through the school like wildfire, and now Sophia heard whispers of it wherever she went. Sophia kept her eyes down, focusing on gathering her things. Maybe if she didn't engage, they would get bored and leave. "I'm talking to you." "Puffy?" Megan said, stepping closer and blocking Sophia's path to the door. "Don't you know it's rude to ignore people?" "I need to get to class," Sophia muttered, trying to sidestep around the trio. Amber stuck out her designer-sneakered foot, and Sophia went sprawling, her books scattering across the bathroom floor. The trio erupted in laughter as Sophia scrambled to collect her belongings, her cheeks burning with humiliation. "Oops," Amber said with mock concern. "You should really watch where you're going, Puffy. You could get hurt." As Sophia reached for her math textbook, Danny's foot came down on her fingers, applying just enough pressure to be painful without leaving a mark. "You know," Danny said conversationally, "I heard the funniest thing about you yesterday." Sophia pulled her hand free, cradling it against her chest. "Please, just let me go." "Someone said your dad teaches people how to fight," Megan continued, examining her perfect manicure. "But that can't be right because that would mean you come from a family of actual athletes." She looked Sophia up and down with exaggerated disbelief. "And we all know that's impossible." 1, 2, 3. Sophia counted in her head, using the technique her father had taught her to control her temper in the ring. 4, 5, 6. "Nothing to say, Puffy. No defense of Daddy dearest." Megan leaned in close, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Or maybe he's just as pathetic as you are." Sophia's hands curled into fists, and for a moment she imagined how easily she could sweep Megan's legs out from under her, how quickly she could put her in a submission hold that would have the cheerleader tapping out in seconds. The knowledge of what she could do burned inside her like a flame, but she had made a promise. The bell rang, saving her from having to respond. "I'm late for class," she said quietly, finally gathering the last of her books. "Run along then," Megan said, stepping aside with exaggerated courtesy. "We wouldn't want Puffy Sofa to get in trouble." As Sophia hurried out of the bathroom, she heard Megan call after her, "See you at lunch, Puffy. We'll save you a special seat." The morning dragged on, each minute feeling like an hour. In her classes, Sophia tried to make herself invisible, keeping her head down and speaking only when directly called upon by teachers. She had learned that any participation on her part would be met with snickers and whispered comments from Megan's extensive network of followers. By lunchtime, Sophia's anxiety was at a peak. She considered hiding in the library, as she had done several times in the past weeks, but her growing hunger won out. She hadn't eaten breakfast that morning, too nervous about facing another day at Westlake. The cafeteria was a battlefield with strictly defined territories. The athletes occupied the central tables, with Megan and her cheerleaders taking pride of place. The drama kids had claimed the tables near the windows, while the academically focused students gathered near the cafeteria entrance. As the new girl, Sophia belonged nowhere, usually finding a spot at one of the half-empty tables near the trash cans. Tray in hand, she scanned the room for a safe place to sit. She spotted an empty table in the corner and made a beeline for it, hoping to eat quickly and escape before anyone noticed her. She didn't make it. "Puffy, over here!" Megan's voice carried across the cafeteria, drawing all eyes to Sophia. "We saved you a seat." Sophia froze, uncertain of what to do. Ignoring Megan would only make things worse, but sitting with her tormentors seemed like walking willingly into a trap. Before she could decide, Danny appeared at her side, taking her arm in what would look to observers like a friendly gesture. "Come on," she said, her grip tight enough to hurt. "Don't be rude." Trapped, Sophia allowed herself to be led to Megan's table, where the cheerleaders shifted to make room, their smiles not reaching their eyes. Sophia sat awkwardly on the edge of the bench, her tray clutched in front of her like a shield. "We were just saying how sad it is that you've been here for weeks and still don't have any friends," Megan said, her voice dripping with false concern. "So, we decided to take pity on you." "That's nice of you," Sophia said cautiously. "Not believing it for a second, it is, isn't it?" Megan exchanged glances with Amber. "In fact, we even got you a welcome drink." She nodded to Amber, who produced a paper cup filled with what looked like apple juice, a peace offering. Sophia stared at the cup suspiciously. "Thanks, but I already have water." "Oh, come on," Danny urged. "It's a special homemade soda. Megan's. Mom makes it. It's really good." The entire table was watching her now, and Sophia could feel the tension building. She knew something was wrong, but she couldn't see a way out without creating a scene. "Drink it," Megan said, her smile hardening. "Unless you're too good for our hospitality?" Sophia took the cup with trembling fingers. She sniffed it discreetly. It had a strange, pungent odor, but she couldn't place it. The entire cafeteria seemed to have gone quiet, all eyes on her. She raised the cup to her lips, took a small sip, and immediately knew she had made a terrible mistake. The liquid was warm and acrid, burning her throat and making her gag. She spit it out reflexively, spraying the table and her own shirt with the foul liquid. "Oh my God, she actually drank it!" Amber shrieked with laughter. The realization of what had just happened hit Sophia like a physical blow. They had given her urine, actual human urine, and she had put it in her mouth. The cafeteria erupted in laughter as Megan stood up, addressing the crowd like a ringmaster at a circus. "Everyone, Puffy Sofa just drank pee. Tyler collected it after gym class." She pointed to a smirking boy at a nearby table who gave a mock bow. Nausea overwhelmed Sophia. She lurched to her feet, knocking over her tray, and ran for the nearest trash can where she vomited violently. Tears streamed down her face as she heaved, the sounds of laughter and smartphone cameras clicking in the background. "I can't do this anymore," she thought, as she wiped her mouth with a napkin offered by a sympathetic lunch lady. "I can't keep my promise." The lunch lady helped her to the nurse's office, where she called her father to come pick her up. She sat in miserable silence, her wet shirt clinging to her skin, the taste of bile still in her mouth. When her father arrived, his face darkened at the sight of her. "What happened?" he demanded. The nurse explained as delicately as she could. Sophia watched as her father's expression changed from concern to fury. "Has this happened before? The bullying?" he asked on the drive home. Not like this," Sophia admitted. "But yes, why didn't you tell me?" His knuckles were white on the steering wheel. "For you were so happy about the new job, and you made me promise not to fight." Her voice broke on the last word. Her father pulled the car over and turned to face her. "Sophia, listen to me. I made you promise not to fight because I thought you would be making friends, adjusting normally. I never meant for you to suffer like this. What am I supposed to do, Dad? If I fight back, I'll get expelled. If I tell the teachers, it'll just get worse." Her father was quiet for a long moment. "There are different ways of fighting back, Soph, and sometimes you have to stand up for yourself, no matter the consequences." He paused, then added, "But whatever you decide to do, I'll support you." That night, Sophia couldn't sleep. She tossed and turned, replaying the humiliation of the day over and over again. At 3 a.m, she made her decision. She wouldn't break her promise to her father. Not technically. She wouldn't fight in the hallways or the cafeteria, but she would fight back. The next day, Sophia returned to school with a plan. She dressed differently, gone were the loose, shapeless clothes she had been hiding in. Instead, she wore fitted jeans and a simple t-shirt that showed the muscle definition in her arms, the result of years of training. She left her glasses at home, opting for contact lenses. She pulled her hair back into a tight, practical ponytail. She walked into Westlake High with her chin up and her shoulders back, the way she entered the ring before a match. The whispers started immediately. After yesterday's incident, everyone knew who she was. Puffy Sofa was trailed by snickers and pointed fingers as she made her way to her first class. She ignored them all. At lunch, she didn't hide in the library or skulk at the back tables. She walked directly to the center of the cafeteria, to Megan's table, and set her tray down with a deliberate clatter. "You're in my seat," she said calmly to a startled freshman who had taken her place from yesterday. The younger girl looked to Megan for guidance, confusion written across her face. "What do you think you're doing?" Megan demanded, her voice carrying in the suddenly quiet cafeteria. "Did you not learn your lesson yesterday, Puffy? My name is, Sophia," she replied evenly. "And I'm sitting here today." Megan's eyes narrowed. "Tyler, Jason," she called to two boys at the adjacent table, both football players with shoulders like small mountains. "Would you mind showing our confused friend here where the trash cans are? I think she's lost." The boys exchanged grins and stood up, making their way over. One of them, Tyler, the same boy who had supposedly provided yesterday's drink, put a heavy hand on Sophia's shoulder. "Time to go, Puffy," he said. Sophia looked at his hand, then up at his face. "You have 3 seconds to take your hand off me." Tyler laughed, looking around to make sure his audience was appreciating the show. "Or what?" 3, Sophia counted. "Is she serious right now?" Amber whispered loudly. 2. "Dude, she's counting," Jason said with a smirk. 1. Tyler tightened his grip, preparing to pull her up from the seat. What happened next was so fast that later, when students tried to describe it to those who hadn't been there, they couldn't agree on the sequence of events. Sophia stood in one fluid motion, breaking Tyler's grip with a simple twist. Before he could react, she had his arm locked behind him, applying just enough pressure to make him gasp in pain. When Jason lunged forward to help his friend, Sophia used Tyler's momentum to send him stumbling into Jason, causing both boys to crash to the floor in an ungainly heap. The cafeteria erupted in surprised shouts and scattered applause. "What the hell?" Tyler scrambled to his feet, his face flushed with rage and embarrassment. "I warned you," Sophia said, her voice carrying in the hushed aftermath. "Now I'm going to sit here and eat my lunch. Anyone who has a problem with that is welcome to try again." Tyler looked like he might take her up on the offer, but Jason grabbed his arm, muttering something in his ear. The two backed away. Retreat. Masked as disinterest, Sophia sat back down and began eating her sandwich as if nothing had happened. Inside, her heart was racing, adrenaline coursing through her veins. She had broken her promise, but only technically. She hadn't started a fight. She had defended herself. Megan, recovering from her shock, leaned across the table. "You think you're so tough now? You have no idea what's coming to you." Sophia met her gaze steadily. "Actually, I do, and I'm ready for it." The rest of the day passed in a blur of whispers and sideways glances. Videos of the cafeteria incident were already circulating on social media, with students debating how the chubby new girl had taken down 2 football players without breaking a sweat. By the time the final bell rang, Sophia knew that Megan wouldn't let the humiliation stand. There would be retaliation, and it would be soon. She was right. As she walked toward the gym for an after-school fitness session her father had arranged for her to use the facilities for training, she was intercepted by Amber and Danny. "Megan wants to see you," Amber said, her usual smugness replaced by caution. "Behind the bleachers on the football field." "I bet she does," Sophia replied. "Tell her if she wants to talk she can come find me herself." "She said you'd say that," Danny said, holding up her phone to show a text message. "She also said to tell you she has these." The screen showed photos of Sophia from yesterday, retching into the trash can, tears streaming down her face, the wet stain on her shirt clearly visible. They had been edited with cruel captions. "Puffy Sofa's toilet. Training, and when you're so thirsty you'll drink anything." "She's going to post them on every social platform and send them to everyone in the school directory," Amber said, a hint of her old malice returning. "Unless you meet her. Now." Sophia considered her options. The photos were humiliating, but they also documented a clear case of bullying. If they went public, Megan could face serious consequences, but this wasn't about getting Megan in trouble with the school administration. This was about ending the cycle here and now. "Fine," she said. "Lead the way." The football field was deserted at this hour, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows across the carefully maintained grass. Behind the bleachers, Megan waited, with a small crowd of her followers, mostly cheerleaders and a few football players, including Tyler and Jason, who glared at Sophia with undisguised hatred. "Here she is," Amber announced. "The Kung Fu master herself." Megan stepped forward, her phone held up like a weapon. "I'm going to make your life a living hell," she said without preamble. "Those little moves you pulled in the cafeteria, they won't save you from what's coming." "What's coming, Megan?" Sophia asked, her voice steady despite the rapid beating of her heart. "More urine, more tripping me in hallways? Or are you going to have your boyfriends here try to rough me up again, because that worked out so well the first time? You think, you're so tough," Megan spat. "One lucky move and suddenly you're not puffy sofa anymore. Let me tell you something." "No," Sophia interrupted. "Let me tell you something." She took a step forward, and despite herself, Megan took a step back. "For 3 weeks I've put up with your bullying. I've been tripped, mocked, isolated, and yesterday you gave me urine to drink. Actual human waste. Do you have any idea how sick that is?" "It was just a joke," one of the cheerleaders muttered, but she fell silent under Sophia's gaze. "Where I come from, that's not a joke. Where I come from, that's the kind of thing that ends with someone getting hurt." Sophia pointed to the phone, in Megan's hand. "Go ahead and post those pictures. Show the whole school, the whole town, what kind of person you really are." Megan's confident expression faltered. "You don't scare me." "I should," Sophia said quietly, "because what happened in the cafeteria, that was me being gentle." She moved closer, her voice dropping to a whisper that only Megan could hear. "I've been fighting in rings since I was 7 years old. I've broken bones, dislocated joints, and put people twice my size into unconsciousness. I could do the same to you right now, and no one here could stop me." The color drained from Megan's face. "You're bluffing." In answer, Sophia pulled out her own phone and brought up a video, herself in the ring last year, facing off against an opponent who had at least 30 pounds on her. The crowd around them pressed closer to watch as Sophia executed a flawless combination of strikes that sent her opponent to the mat, followed by a submission hold that ended the match in seconds. "That girl was the defending national champion," Sophia said as the video ended. "She called me worse names than Puffy Sofa before the match. Didn't help her much." A heavy silence fell over the group. Even Tyler and Jason looked unsettled. "So, here's what's going to happen," Sophia continued, putting her phone away. "You're going to delete those photos. You're going to stop the bullying, not just of me, but of everyone in this school. And if I ever hear that you've given someone bodily fluids to drink again, I will personally ensure that everyone in a 100-mile radius knows exactly what kind of person you are." "And if I don't?" Megan challenged, but her voice lacked conviction. Sophia smiled, and there was nothing friendly about it. "Then I stop holding back." For a long moment no one moved. Then slowly Megan lowered her phone. "Delete them," Sophia said. With trembling fingers, Megan complied, showing Sophia the screen as she deleted the photos one by one. "Now, we're done here," Sophia said, looking around at the assembled group. "Spread the word. The bullying stops today." She turned to leave, then paused, looking back at Megan. "And Megan, my name is Sophia, not Puffy, not Sofa. Sophia Mitchell, remember it." As she walked away, she heard footsteps behind her. She tensed, ready to defend herself again, but it was just a girl she recognized from her English class. Emily, she thought her name was. "That was amazing," Emily said, falling into step beside her. "No one's ever stood up to Megan like that." Sophia shrugged. "Someone should have a long time ago." "Is it true? About the fighting?" "Yes. Could you teach me sometime?" Emily asked hesitantly. "Not to fight necessarily, but just how to stand up for myself like that." Sophia looked at her, really seeing her for the first time, a thin girl with kind eyes and a hesitant smile. "Yeah," she said after a moment, "I could do that." The next day at school, the atmosphere had changed. When Sophia walked down the hallway, people stepped aside, not out of fear but respect. A few nodded to her, and one boy she didn't even know gave her a thumbs up. In the cafeteria, she was welcomed at a table with Emily and a few other students who had previously kept their distance. There was no sign of Megan or her usual entourage. "They're hiding in the library," Emily informed her with no small amount of satisfaction. "Tyler's telling everyone he let you take him down because he doesn't hit girls, but nobody believes him. Jason's not saying anything at all." "And Megan?" Emily grinned. "She tried to start a rumor that you're on steroids, but Mr. Ramirez overheard and gave her detention for spreading lies. Turns out he was watching a video of that cafeteria incident, and he was impressed. He wants to talk to you about joining." the school's new self-defense club. For the first time since arriving at Westlake High, Sophia felt herself relax. She had kept her promise to her father, mostly. She hadn't fought in the hallways, and while she had defended herself, she hadn't actually hurt anyone. Later that week, as she was leaving school, she saw Megan sitting alone on a bench, looking smaller and less intimidating than Sophia had ever seen her. On impulse, Sophia sat down next to her. Megan stiffened but didn't leave. "I heard your boyfriend broke up with you," Sophia said after a moment of uncomfortable silence. Megan shrugged. "He was a jerk anyway. Most of them are at our age." Another silence, less tense this time. "Why are you talking to me?" Megan finally asked. "Shouldn't you be celebrating your victory or something?" Sophia considered the question seriously. "It wasn't about winning or losing, Megan. It was about stopping something harmful." "I wasn't," Megan began, then stopped herself. "Okay, maybe I was, a little." "A little?" A ghost of a smile touched Megan's lips. "A lot then, I was awful." "Yes, you were. So why are you sitting here?" Sophia looked out across the school grounds where students were making their way home, laughing and talking in groups. "Because I know what it's like to be alone," she said simply, "and I wouldn't wish that on anyone, even you." Megan didn't respond, but she didn't leave either. They sat in silence as the school emptied. Two girls who had nothing in common except the knowledge that things had changed irrevocably between them. "My dad's starting a youth MMA class at his gym," Sophia said finally, standing up. "Saturday. Mornings at 10 if you're interested." "Why would I be interested in that?" Sophia shrugged. "Learning how to be strong for real instead of just pretending. It might be a good change." She walked away without waiting for a response, feeling the weight of the past few weeks lifting from her shoulders. She had come to Westlake High as a victim, become a fighter, and now maybe she could just be Sophia. The following Saturday, as she was warming up in her father's gym, the door opened and Megan walked in, looking uncomfortable in sweatpants and a t-shirt, her hair pulled back, in a ponytail. Sophia caught her father's questioning glance and nodded. He walked over to welcome the new student, and Sophia couldn't help but smile at the sight of Megan's hesitant response. It wasn't forgiveness, not yet. That would take time and genuine change. But it was a start, a chance for both of them to be different, to be better, and for now, that was enough.